Stampers. I started making a card this morning and I'm kind of liking how it's turning out, so I thought I'd start filming as I finish it. What I have here is a piece of the Stampin' Up! Watercolor cardstock, and I have cut it to measure 3 3/4 by 5. I'm using the What I Love stamp set from our current celebration promotion using this image right here, which I've mounted onto a clear block. The colors that I'm using for this card are Hello Honey, Melon Mambo, Tangerine Tango, and Rich Razzleberry. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the bold tip of my markers and I'm taking my Hello Honey and I'm coloring over the entire image, just like that. Then I'm taking my Melon Mambo and I'm just kind of randomly adding color here and there. Doing the same thing with my Rich Razzleberry. And then I'm going to take the Tangerine Tango and just put that in the center of my stamp. And I have an old Stampin' Mist bottle which I have filled with water. So now I'm just going to give that a little squirt. And then push down on my cardstock, letting that water absorb into the paper. And then stamp it off. So depending on how much water you're using is going to determine if you get this where it's all kind of like bled a little bit, or a more distinctive image where you can see the colors a bit more. But I like the randomness of it, and then I'm just stamping off around it until I get all the ink off my stamp. So I'm going to repeat that around the edges of the card. And you also don't want to get too much water on your stamp, otherwise your stamp is probably going to fall off. So this is a nice quick way to do a card. I'm stamping off the paper a little bit and then stamping around again. And the other thing you can do is you can mist a little bit of water onto your paper too, just to get it a little bit damp. That will help the ink kind of spread a little bit if that's the look you're going for. I actually have a old rag that I use quite often, and every now and then this is getting a little bit loose on the block because of the water, so I just peel it off, wipe my block, dry off the back, and then it sticks really well again. And that's just again because I'm spraying the water onto the stamp. Now I'm just spritzing on some more of the water just so the colors can bleed a little bit more. So now that's done pretty much how I like it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set that aside to dry. Okay, now I have a piece of Whisper White that I have cut to measure 3 by 2.5, and using the same stamp that I did on the background, which I did sap this with the heat tool just to speed up the drying. Alright, so I have gone ahead and re-inked this stamp using the same markers, but this time I want it to be a bit more of a crisp image, so instead of misting it with the water, I'm going to huff on it with my breath, which will re-moisten any ink that has dried. And just stamp it down in the center. And I'm just taking my aqua painter just to pull some of that ink in. Next I'm going to stamp it with the splatters from the Timeless Textures stamp set. Just this one here. Fabulous stamp set. Love it. I'm going to use my soft suede. Just kind of stamp it a little randomly like this. I'm going to do the same thing on this piece. And sometimes I'm re-inking and sometimes I'm not, because I want some splatters to be darker than others. Now I'm taking a stamping sponge and I'm going to sponge around the edges of both pieces. I'm just going in little circles as I go around the edge. Now I'm going to use the stamp set from the One Big Meaning, which is a great thank you stamp set. Absolutely love this set. Stamp this with my Memento ink in the Tuxedo Black. And I'm going to stamp it right over the flower. Now my card base is the Tangerine Tango, which I'm folding in half. And when folded, this card measures 5.5 by 4.25. Then I have a piece of crumb cake that measures 5.25 by 4. I cut out a piece to match the focal point too, so it's just 1/4 of an inch bigger than this piece here. So I'm going to sponge again, but this time using my early espresso. And I want to sponge this piece of crumb cake. I'm going to ink the edge of my card base. And I'm going to do the same thing with this piece. And now I'm going to put it together. So before I put this piece on the front of the card, I want to add a little bit of glimmer. So I'm going to use the Wink of Stella in the gold. And I'm just going to go into some of the flowers. And I'm going to add a little bit of gold in this one too, just randomly adding a little bit here and there. Now I'm taking some sequins and I'm pulling out some gold ones. So now that I have them where I want them, I'm just going to take some glue dots to put those down. We do have a fine tip glue pen. That's awesome, but I can't seem to find it, so glue dots to the rescue. So there's my card. Pretty quick, nothing too fancy, just a little bit of bling, and it was really fun to make and show it to you. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching and happy stamping.